it's scary. Scary. Ah. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. Welcome to Beehive Productions Horror Humpdays, where I read you a horror story, either a short horror story, um, or I read you a chapter from one of my books. We've been reading for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes. We've been reading from my book. It's dark in here. I don't know where. Oh, here we go. We've been reading from my book, Sleepwalker. Available on Amazon. Also available on BarnesandNoble.com. So look at that. I've moved up in the world. But good evening, Shannon. Hey, welcome, Kevin. It's lack of sleep day for you, sir. And good evening. So we have been following the exploits of BroadMeadow and his good friend Jeff Eastman. And they're a couple of hunting buddies that are hunting up in Reamer, Minnesota. And they lost their hunting land, got sold. And so they're out on public land in a place called Wendigo Woods. And our main hero, BroadMeadow, has fallen through thin spots in reality. And he fell asleep and he woke up in different realities. He has dealt with, so far, he's dealt with the Wendigo. And he's dealt with a pandemic. And he dealt with a Native American vampire last week. So this week, well, you'll just have to come along and find out. So anyhow, I thank you guys very much for coming out. Also want to give you guys a shout out. Thank you for sharing my events. And because I've seen a rise in new viewers, which is awesome. Another big thing for me is when you guys comment on here, when you like and share and do all of that internet-y stuff. It helps me out with this page. There is a company out there that does that helps out people with advertising and all kinds of stuff, and they're for what do they call them, micro creators. And I thought, oh hey, I might fit into that because I got about little over 500 followers. And so I went and checked their website. Good evening, Steph, and thanks for bringing the badges. I'm sure Chuck will be coming in close behind you. And so I thought I'd fall into that category. So I did some reading on the company, and I still have to have about 3,000 followers. So you guys are helping me get there. We're just going at a slow rate, and that's okay. Good evening, Jessica. Thank you, neighbor, for coming on over to the Hive. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Eventually, maybe we'll make 3,000. I do put little snippets of my shows on TikTok and on Instagram. The only problem with that is Instagram does not allow you to put links on there unless you cut and paste what I put on there for a link to either view it on here or view it on YouTube. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. So, but it is what it is. TikTok, I do get a lot of hits on there. The only problem is I get a lot of women that message me on there, and they want me to go on their OnlyFans or whatever. And yeah, and that's not really what I'm on TikTok for. So anyhow, But it is what it is, and I guess you take the good with the bad when it comes to online stuff. Um, so I'm just going to keep plugging away, whether I make it to 3,000 or not. It's just going to be what it is. We're just going to be a show on a budget, as all, a very lean budget. But that's okay. I'm just here to tell my stories to you guys, and hopefully you enjoy them. If you guys have friends that are into horror, please have them stop on out here. When I finish my book that I'm working on called Ballad of Broken Bird, I will have to figure out a way to read that to you guys online when I finish it. I'm a ways off yet, but I will be reading that to you guys also. That is not a horror story. That is more kind of pseudo-biographical, as most books are, but that one's pretty close to my heart, and I can't wait to release that into the world, so to speak. Anyhow, friends, yeah, right. Okay, your constituent, since you're the mayor of old people, Kevin, you got to have plenty of retired people around you that are willing to listen to you, or you could just intimidate them into watching me. You could do that. So you got some. I'm sure you got some brothers down there that like horror. You could turn them on to this right here. So anyhow, yeah. So that is my story on here. Is I'm not gonna push too much for the popular vote. I'm mainly just pushing to expose you guys to my stories, which means I'm exposing you to my brain, which I don't know if that's a good thing either, but yeah, we're doing that. And then and also to get some circulation for my books as well. If they don't want to watch or listen to these podcasts or anything, they can look me up on Amazon and grab one of my books out there. I got about 9, 10, 11 of them, I think, that I've published out there. So yeah, great gift idea for Christmas for the horror lover in your life. All right, that's my shameless promotion for the night. So we'll talk more about other stuff going on in the world of the Beehive. But until then, we should let's jump into the story. It's a bit of a long one. Also, you folks in Minnesota here with me, how about that weather? Holy crap. I watched a baby squirrel get blown across the road. Yeah, the wind was, I think it got up to 50 miles per hour. I know Steph dealt with a pole that got knocked over from the wind. She also got blown out of the ditch, or blown into the ditch. Yeah, so so just be careful out there. That wind's only supposed to last till midnight tonight. I am indoors for the rest of the evening. Not going out there. I doubt my garbage is going to be out front anymore. Well, it's a good night to stay in and listen to Story Hour. Exactly. I should put you in charge of marketing there, Jessica. Yeah, Kevin, you're missing out on this wonderful weather. We're having snow squalls out here. It was pretty wicked. The sun was shining here in Winthrop, and then I drove about 25 miles or 20 minutes north, and we had a wall of snow and wind just ripping through, going all the way to the cities. It was pretty violent. Yeah. So, oh, I bet he did. Yeah, you truck drivers out there like Dwayne, I can imagine he drove through all this stuff, because it was knocking semis over and any like big box trucks or whatever. Yeah, I didn't even like being out there, and I got a little tiny go-kart, so it was not fun. I had to leave some of my job tickets for tomorrow when it's just going to be icy cold and not windy. So there you go. Anyhow, let's get into the story. Tonight's chapter is called The Nest. And, Yeah, we'll just start off here when Bo BroadMeadow opens his eyeballs. I better take a sip here. God damn, that's good coffee. Anyhow, the nest. Sasquatch! Jeff hollered down from below him. Bo jumped from his seat, and he fell over the side of his deer stand and landed on the ground 15 feet down. Well, no wonder you haven't shot anything. You spend the whole day sleeping up there. Jeff was laughing his ass off. Deer stand, Bo said, not remembering being in a deer stand. I told you not to hit the jack so hard last night. Come on, buddy. Let's go grab a bite. Jeff offered his hand and he pulled Bo up on his feet. Fuck, man, Bo said groggily. My gun could have gone off. Yeah, probably wasn't safe. You okay? Yeah. Fuck, what time is it? About 1:15. Ugh, okay. Bo looked out into the valley, and all he could see was thick fog. Did you see anything? Bo asked. Nope, Jeff answered. Can't see a goddamn thing in that fog. Even the sun didn't burn it away when it came out earlier. Just heard some weird mewling sounds. I heard that too, this morning. What do you think it was? Well, it wasn't a squatch, he laughed. Probably a squirrel or some rodent warning his comrades we were near. We gonna head into town for lunch? Actually, I thought we'd check out Grand Rapids for something different. You game? Yeah, man, this sounds good. They packed up their guns and headed east down County Highway 6 towards Grand Rapids. The road was busy with hunters, and a light snow threatened to make the highway slick. The traffic was worse when they got into town. Grand Rapids was a mill town, mostly paper, but back in the day there were plenty lumber camps, filled to the brim. But those camps were long gone. The paper mill now ran at half capacity, and other than tourism, there wasn't much else. The boys had found a Chinese restaurant called the Fu King Buffet, and with much laughter at the name, they filled their hungry stomachs. So, what do you want to do now? Jeff asked, opening his fortune cookie. I don't know, Bo said, doing the same. Maybe we could go check out the Judy Garland Museum. There was silence from Jeff's end. He was staring at his fortune with a puzzled look. It was a joke, bro, Bo said. Jeff handed over his fortune. You will fight the biggest battle of your life. Chinese word of the day, shay, meaning snake. What does yours say? Jeff asked. Bo unfolded the thin rectangle of paper. You live in dreams and dream in life. Chinese word of the day, menyowa, meaning sleepwalker. Well, Jeff said, that's the oddest couple of fortunes I ever pulled out of a cookie. No shit, Bo said. Let's go grab some beers. They paid their tab and hopped into Jeff's truck. He turned the key and the glow plug lit. As the amber light began to fade, he cranked it over. It chugged and then something popped under the hood. What the fuck? Jeff said. Black smoke billowed from beneath the truck. That doesn't sound good, Bo added. Jeff got out and popped the hood. More smoke came out, and Jeff backed away, waving his hand to fan the air. He pulled out his mag light and investigated the engine. Bo could feel him jiggling some things on the engine block. He hissed some swear words Bo couldn't make out. "What's up?" Bo asked. "If I was a guessing man," Jeff said, "I'd reckon it was a coil pack." He looked around the city. "I'm going to head over to that auto shop," Jeff said. There's one over there by the McDonald's over there." Bo's eyes lit up. "The what?" "The McDonald's? Golden Arches? Big Mac attack?" "I know what it is. It's just... What?" "Fuck. I don't know, man. Let's just go." They began to walk. Jeff had thrown on his bright orange camo jacket, and Bo wished he'd done the same. It was full dark now, and the wind was blowing light snow and with something biting behind it. "Are you all right, man?" Jeff asked. "I think so," Bo said, unsure of himself. I've been having weird dreams. They're so vivid that I'm not sure what's real and what's not." "If you're dreaming now, can you dream that my truck is fixed?" Bo stopped for a moment. "What?" Jeff looked concerned. I didn't even think about if this was real or just a fucking dream. But something, I don't know, the McDonald's and that wacky fortune cookie. What does McDonald's have to do with anything? I wish I knew, man. I really do." Bo started to walk again. "I can't remember the dreams. Only bits and pieces that don't seem to make sense." "Anything like that ever happened before?" "No, I don't think so." "Fuck, I don't know. Maybe it's nothing." They walked into a business called Jim's Auto Mart. The smell of grease hit their noses. A chubby, nervous-looking kid of about 19 was at the counter, the name Artie embroidered above the left breast pocket. Two older gentlemen were also at the counter and gave Bo and Jeff the stare down as they walked in. Sir," Artie said, we're going to be closing up here very soon." "No problem," Jeff said. "I know the exact part I need, and we'll be out of your hair." "But, sir, I need a coil pack for a 2017 Dodge Ram." Artie nervously looked at the other gentleman behind the counter and began to tap away at the keyboard in a feverish fury. "Is that a 4.7? "Yes, the Hemi diesel." "We have a set of TRQs for $310, or, Artie," one of the gentlemen spoke. Sorry." Artie was sweating. We have a set of MRDs for $200. "Artie." "Let the boy alone," Jeff interjected. "He's doing a fine job. I'll take the MRDs, Artie." Artie went into the back to find the part. The two gentlemen kept staring at Bo and Jeff. "Which one of you is Jim?" Jeff asked. There was no answer. They only looked at each other and then back at Bo and Jeff. Suddenly, the warning siren went off in town. The two gentlemen stiffened up and then walked into the back and disappeared. There were two other customers who were also in there that dropped their purchases and walked outside into the parking lot. "What the fuck was that?" Bo asked. "I have no clue," Jeff said. "Looks like the whole town is roaming somewhere." "Artie," Bo called into the back shelves. "Artie, you still there?" Artie came out. 3 shades paler than he was before he went back. His work smock was soaked with sweat. "What the hell is going on in town?" Jeff asked. Nothing," Artie said, ringing in the part. "Just, testing the tornado horn, I'm guessing." "Don't you live around here?" That's $234.14 with tax, sir. Okay, thanks. Jeff hands Artie his credit card. Say, Artie, I reckon my friend and I are stuck in Grand Rapids for the night. Any suggestions on a hotel? Um, uh, I don't really, uh, maybe the Timberlake? They got a bar at the Timberlake? Um, I, maybe? Okay, thanks, Artie. Have a great night. As they left, Bo thought Artie had a tear streaming down his face. Perhaps it was sweat. He sure was a sweaty kid. Well, that was odd as hell, Bo said. Yeah, Stepford odd, Jeff agreed. Where's this Timberlake place? I'm guessing it's that giant log cabin looking place. You up for a walk? Don't really have a choice, do I? We could call an Ultra. An Ultra? The taxi services. Come on, man. Get with the times. I thought it... Isn't it called... Fuck. It's called Ultra. Always has been, always will be. There are other services who copied Ultra, like Hitch, but Ultra was first. Let's just get a room and a drink, okay? The Timberlake Lodge was across the highway from where they were. Jeff's truck stayed about 6 buildings north of where they were, and Bo didn't think he had the lung capacity to walk there to get his things, and then to the hotel. It was a faux rustic cabin feel in the lobby. The front desk had a fake birch bark surrounding it, and fake trees also adorned the common area. The desk was empty, so Jeff rang the little bell that sat on the ledge of it. Where the fuck did everybody go? Jeff began to say until a young woman stepped out to the front desk. She had red hair cut short into a pixie hairstyle. Her eyes were green, and her nose was small, like a little bump with 2 holes. She had thin lips that almost looked to be in a constant frown. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" she asked. "Yes," Bo said. "We need a room for the night." "We have 1 double occupancy available. 2 queen beds. No smoking." "That'll work." She ran Bo's card and then handed him 2 key cards. "You're in room 237, top of the stairs, and all the way towards the back." "Is the bar open?" Jeff asked. The small smile left her lipless mouth. "Yes, till 10 p.m. "Perfect, thank you." Since neither had any luggage, they walked straight into the bar. Again, it had the whole Northwoods cabin theme to it. There were 2 circular tables with 4 empty chairs around each, and 6 empty bar stools at the bar. "Where the hell is everybody?" Bo asked. "The parking lot is full and there's nobody in here?" The bartender was another young woman, early to mid-20s, dishwater blonde with blue eyes. She was curvy but not heavy. She seemed anxious when the boys stepped into the room. Her reaction was not unlike Artie's. "Hey, Chuck is here with the Badgers and the Bees. Welcome, Chuck. Steph brought in some to join yours." "I imagine everyone has gone to bed," she said softly. "What can I get you fellas?" We'll take 2 Jack and Cokes, please. What was the deal with the tornado siren? Everybody got all weird and walked away." We do drills at the beginning of every month. Tornadoes get nasty up here on the Iron Range." "So everybody just goes home then?" "Well, no. They head over to the IRA Civic Center. That's where..." "Amy." It was the front desk clerk coming up behind her. Amy the bartender jumped as if she'd been poked with an ice pick. Yes, Lissa? She asked nervously. Come here for a moment. Amy went back with Lissa while Bo and Jeff drank their drinks. She came back a little more scared than when she left. Are we getting you into trouble? Jeff asked. No, she answered nervously. I had a problem with my time card. Are you sure? Bo asked. Yep. Can I get you guys another? Absolutely. She poured 2 more and handed them over. Bo took a swig and winced. Whew, boy, he said, smacking his lips. You poured 'em dirty. Shh, Jeff said. That's not something we complain about. Keep pouring 'em like this, honey. Suddenly, they both felt a sharp pain in their abdomen. Ouch! Bo grabbed his stomach and winced in pain. Jeff did the same immediately after. Damn, Jeff said. I've had some bad Mexican food, but this is something else. What did you put in these? Amy began to cry. She put her hand over her mouth and cried. I'm so sorry, guys, she said. Amy, came Lissa's voice behind her. Please forgive me. You need to try and run. Just get the fuck out of town. They're harvesting us. All of us. That's quite enough, Amy. They're aliens. She put her venom in your drinks. But there's not a lot. You should be able to escape. Please, just get out. Lissa opened her mouth. 2 long fangs unfolded from the roof of her mouth, and she bit down on Amy's neck. She began to convulse, and before she could make another move, Lissa had unhinged her jaw like a snake and began to swallow Amy whole. Oh, Jesus, Jeff said. Bo and Jeff tried to run, but every muscle in their limbs began to stiffen up. They couldn't move. They could only watch as Amy was swallowed whole. They both screamed as the Lissa thing slowly made a meal of their bartender. Jeff, I can't move, Bo said through grit teeth. It's the venom, Jeff said, struggling to move himself. But it's diluted. We should be able to force ourselves to move. Just keep pushing through it. It fucking hurts. I know, but we need to get out of here. I don't want to end up like our bartender. Is this really happening? They could move, but it was in slow motion. Jeff was able to retrieve his pocket knife, and with much trouble, he extended the blade on it and tried to get over the bar. The fuck are you doing? Bo said, finally able to stand. I'm gonna cut this bitch, Jeff said. I'll be damned if I'm gonna let this one go. Rolling over the top of the bar and onto his feet in slow-mo, Jeff lunged at the alien and stabbed it in the neck. Lissa winced in pain and began to regurgitate Amy. Quick, Jeff said, handing Bo a bottle of Bacardi 151. Make a Molotov out of this and chuck it at the bar. While Bo popped the pour spout off the bottle and jammed napkins into the top, Jeff swung one more time and connected with its slitted eye. It had spit out the rest of Amy and hissed in rage at its wounds. Duck, Bo said from the other side of the bar. Bo had lit the napkin and hurled the bottle with everything he had in his stiffened muscles. The bottle exploded and flames poured out onto the other bottles of alcohol and onto Lissa. She screamed again, this time in pain as the flames began to engorge themselves on her. Jeff made his way around to the front of the bar. Let's get the fuck out of here. Lissa jumped over the bar and tackled Jeff back to the ground. Her burning arms and legs slithered about him, and she began to crush him. Bo! Jeff used up the last of his breath, screaming for his friend. The flames began to light on him, and he could feel his skin blister. Bo grabbed a highball glass and smashed it into Lissa's head. Her grip loosened enough to let Jeff slip out of her coils. He rolled back while Bo set another glass into her face. Let's go! Jeff shouted, grabbing Bo's arm. The fire alarm began to ring, and the sprinkler system kicked on just as they made it outside. We better get to the truck, Jeff said. I'm going to try to fix it while you stand watch. Now that the fire department has been called out, those things know that we know. Fuck, man, Bo gasped. I can't run like this. Every time I stop, my muscles, they begin to stiffen again. Then keep moving. They took off across the highway and made it to the truck. Jeff armed himself with his Desert Eagle and handed Bo his AR-15. It's only the helicoil, Jeff said. Shouldn't take long. Just keep your eyes open. Jeff popped the hood and began getting to work. He plugged his shop light into the inverter he kept under his driver's seat. The lights from the fire trucks began to flicker, and the horns and sirens wailed in the background. Fuck, Jeff, Bo whispered nervously. Hurry. Hurry it up. Won't be long till they send the cops out looking for us. Jeff hung his coat over the hood to block out the shop light while he worked. Bo kept vigil on the hotel. A crowd was beginning to gather at the fire, and there were 2 squad cars parked in front. 5 minutes later, police sirens began to wail, as a line of about 4 black and whites began to scour the surrounding area. Here they come, Jeff, Bo said. Almost got it, Jeff said. Just threaded the hole. Cross your fingers, the spark plug goes in on the first try. Shit. 2 squad cars raced past on the highway. A third slowed down near the parking lot, switched off its beacons, and popped its spotlight on. Bo moved to the other side of the truck and whispered to Jeff to do the same. The spark plug didn't go in on the first try. Jeff tried again, and this time the plug slipped from his fingers and fell through the motor compartment onto the ground. It rolled and hit Bo on his boot. Well, that's not a good sign, Bo said. Fuck me running, Jeff cursed. Do you see it? Yep, on my boot. Here. The spotlight stretched out its beam and landed on the truck. From the cop's perspective, it looked like a truck with its hood up and someone's jacket hanging on it. They could hear the pebbles in the lot crunch under the slowly moving vehicle as it began to crawl towards them. God damn it, Bo whispered. God damn it, they're coming! Breathe, Jeff whispered back. Calm yourself, or you're going to get us both killed. The squad stopped 20 feet from the truck. They heard its car door open and a boot step out. Both Bo and Jeff stood as still as they could. Bo tried to hold his breath. With his lung capacity crippled since his cancer surgery, he was apt to breathe heavier than most. You can't run, the officer said. We're everywhere. This whole town is a nest. Why don't you both come out and give yourselves up? Silence. I can smell you both from here. You humans release pheromones like it's going out of style. There's no escape. Just accept your fate. Silence. Jeff, thanks to the U.S. Army, was programmed to listen for certain things when in similar situations. His PTSD had already kicked in, and he was running on adrenaline alone. There was a second crunch. The door to the cruiser swung shut. Then more slow, deliberate crunches on the pavement until Jeff could tell the cop was at 1 o'clock, 11 feet from his passenger door. The officer grabbed his shoulder mic and keyed it. Victor 4 to 4100. The radio called back. Victor 4, go ahead. Before the officer could speak, Jeff swung himself around the front of the truck and put 2 rounds into the cop's face before he hit the ground. Get in, Jeff said. Get ready to start this thing. Bo jumped into the driver's seat and turned the ignition as the glow plug lit. Jeff, feverishly, lowered the plug into the hole. It dropped with a clack. He fed the socket wrench in and began to crank. In 2 minutes, he slammed the hood. Hit it, Jeff yelled and ran to the passenger side. The truck roared to life. Bo shifted it into first and then squealed out of the parking lot. There's definitely going to be roadblocks ahead, Bo said. I'm sure they have the entire town blocked off. I'll call Will, Jeff said, pulling out his phone. He'll know some trails that we can take back to Reamer. ATV trails? You got any better ideas? Will, hey man, well, let's just say we got some law trouble and need to get out of Grand Rapids on the sly. I'll tell you later. Yeah? Okay. Sounds good, man. Gonna need to meet up with you when we get back. Yeah. Okay, bye. Take the next left. Bo laughed. Will is the only one we could say, hey man, we got cops chasing us, and that fucker would be like, okay, meet me here. Look for lake access for Wendigo Arm Bay. What in the actual fuck? That's what he said. There's a trail off from the landing, and that'll take us to the Sioux line, and we're home free from there. Fucking Wendigo shit. You're not gonna like where we're gonna meet him up at. What? What's wrong with the hotel? Doesn't want us bringing shit down on his resort. Can't blame him for that. No, I guess not. Where are we meeting him? Back at the hunting spot? Bo's face went blank. Going back to the spot made the hair on his arm stand up, and a copper tang hit his saliva glands. What? Jeff said. Come on, you're not still all weird about that spot, are you? We went hunting there today, and nothing happened. Shit, you napped the entire day away. Thin spots, a voice in Bo's head said, where our reality, our world, mixes with another, many others. Are you okay, man? Jeff asked. They are dangerous places to some, especially sleepwalkers, because when you're in that state of unconsciousness, you can fall through those thin spots. I had some bad dreams while I was asleep out there, Bo said. Pretty vivid shit. They were just dreams, Bo. Nah, you don't understand. I don't remember them, but it's like I kept waking up from them and into another dream. That would suck. Jeff, when you and I set out this morning, I swear to God I didn't use a deer stand. We both just hunkered down in the weeds. That's ridiculous. Will borrowed us his deer stands yesterday. Don't you remember setting them up? No, I don't. I remember hunkering down and hearing weird sounds coming from the fog, and you heard them too. Well, yeah, I figured they were squirrels. Come on, man. You and I have been hunting up here since we were old enough to drive. I've never heard squirrels make a noise like that. Well, maybe this is a dream. Bo hit the brakes on the truck. What did you just say? Maybe maybe this is a dream too. Judging by the events of tonight, I think that's a very good possibility. Bo was uneasy. It was pitch black out, and the only light that was the headlights of the truck. The trail they were on was too small for Jeff's truck, so the sound of branches squealing against the side was deafening. Bo, Jeff said soberly, I'm real. This truck is real. What happened tonight, though incredible as fuck, is real. Bo shifted the truck into gear again, and they made their way to the Sioux line and towards Reamer. I pray to God you're real, Bo said. Well, now, that's something new and different, Jeff added with a slight smile. What? You aren't a religious man. They had pulled up at their hunting spot in Wendigo Woods. They killed the lights, and Jeff made to get out of the truck. You coming? Jeff asked. I'm not getting out into these goddamn woods, Bo answered. Suit yourself. Jeff stood still in the night, waiting for his eyes to adjust to the dark. Bo could see Jeff's breath plume from his mouth. Once acclimated, Jeff began a deep search for their friend Will. See anything? Bo whispered from the cab. Nope, Jeff shook his head. But I hear a motor coming this way. A few minutes later, a side-by-side ATV came rolling up the dirt trail with its lights off. The engine killed and someone got out. Put the guns down, boys. It was Will. Bo uncocked his pistol, and Jeff lowered his rifle. Oh, Jesus, Bo said. Thanks for coming out, man, Jeff said, shaking his hand. Well, what's going on? Why all the secrecy? Bo and Jeff looked at each other, not really knowing how to start this conversation. Jeff let out a big sigh and told them the story. When he finished, they both looked at Will and waited for his reaction. It was hard to tell in the dimness of the night, but Will moved uneasily like he couldn't find a comfortable way to stand. So, he started, what you're telling me here, what you're saying, that Grand Rapids proper is a nest for alien reptoids? Well, Jeff thought about it for a moment. I mean, I don't know if they're aliens per se, but they're not like anything I've ever seen. They could be dwellers from the underground for all I know. Will looked at Bo. And you're going to agree with him. Bo looked at Jeff and back at Will and nodded his head. Well, if this is true, Will asked, what do you want to do about it? Nobody in town is going to believe this story. The people at Reamer believe in Bigfoot, for Christ's sake, Will, Jeff said. Well, true, but look, you've got access to heavy equipment, dynamite, shit like that. Yeah, what do you think you're going to do with that? Take out that nest. Fuck. You guys, do you know how much trouble I could get into? You're asking me to lend you equipment to go on a full-scale assault against the city of Grand Rapids. That's not very Minnesota nice. Look, we could just grab some dynamite and a gravel truck. Me and Bo will hide out in the gravel pile and back, and you just drive in saying you're hauling gravel to Hill City or something. Okay, look, I don't know if I believe you guys, but I'll go along with this to see it for myself. If I get into trouble for this, and I'm sure that I will, you guys are taking the fall for it. Agreed? Agreed, Jeff smiled. Agreed, Bo said. The back of the dump truck was cold and lumpy. The gravel poked through the layers of clothing they had on. They were buried about a foot down next to the boxes of dynamite, with just their heads sticking out. Need a drink. "20 minutes later, they were stopped at a roadblock. "What's the trouble, officer?" Will asked with his best smile. He grew up in the hospitality business and knew how to play people. The cop, climbing up to be at the same level as Will, looked suspiciously inside the cab. "We're looking for 2 adult males who started the Timberlake Lodge on fire." "No shit. Huh. That's terrible. What did they look like?" "One's a native with long graying black hair. The other white with a military cut. Both had handlebar mustaches. Have you seen anybody like that?" "No, sir." "Where are you coming from?" "Reamer. I'm delivering a load of gravel for a road project in Hill City." "Kind of late to be delivering gravel, aren't you?" "Last minute order. They got shorted on today's run. Thought I'd have it there by morning to stay on the excavator's good side." "Check out the back," the officer said to another. The other officer checked the back quickly with his flashlight, lifting the tarpaulin. He looked for 3 agonizing minutes, but didn't see Jeff and Bo's heads sticking up towards the back. "Clear," the other officer shouted. "Have a good night, sir," the first officer said to Will. "If you see any individuals that match those descriptions, stay clear and call 911. They killed 2 hotel employees, and God knows how many of the guests." "What a tragedy," Will agreed. "I'll stay clear. Be safe, officer." The barricade was removed, and Will drove forward into Grand Rapids. The Itasca Recreation Association, or the IRA, Civic Center seats. They seat roughly 50 people, and is the home of the Grand Rapids Thunderhawks hockey team. Mostly used for an ice arena for area hockey teams, it has also been used for conventions, circus performances, and concerts. Tonight, it would seem, it was being used to transport food. The 3 friends had made their way into the arena and climbed up the bleachers and found a spot to gaze at what was happening without being noticed. It was colder inside than it was outside. In the middle of the ice rink was what looked like rigging for concert lights. Several people were operating control boards, while others were pushing what looked like chrome caskets. There were several of them, lined up from the rigging in the middle of the rink going to the outside. "What the fuck is this?" Will whispered, holding up his binoculars. "Your guess is as good as mine," Jeff said. "I bet I know what's in those chrome tubes," Bo said. As if to confirm Bo's statement, one of the chrome tubes fell over. A human male fell out of it. He moved around stiffly at first and tried to get to his feet. It was impossible on the ice. The reptoids wore spiked soles on their shoes, and they easily overcame the man. He shouted at them until one of the reptoids bit down onto his back. The man crumpled to the ground and began to convulse. 2 of the reptoids ran to him and then hissed at one another until the smaller one submitted. Will watched as the larger reptoid unhinged its jaw and began swallowing the convulsing male. "Oh, Jesus Christ!" Will whispered harshly. Thankfully, the noise the reptoid made eating muffled Will's cry. There was a loud humming noise coming from the construct on the ice. A green glow began to shine off the middle of the setup. Fog poured out from the green light and began covering the circumference of the rink. "What is that?" Will asked. "It's like the fog. It's like the fog in the Wendigo Woods," Bo said. "Fog is fog. No, it's different there. It's just like the fog down there." The chrome tubes began to move forward, like a train pulling human-sized train cars. When they got to the green glow, they disappeared with a popping sound. "Is that?" Jeff paused for a few seconds for a thought that looked like it hurt to think it. "Is that a dimensional portal of some sort?" "It's..." Bo closed his eyes for his own 3 seconds. "It's a thin spot." "Come on," Will said. "We gotta help those people in those tubes and blow this place." Jeff looked up and saw a catwalk that went along the ceiling. He followed it with his eyes until he saw a ladder near them. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a bundle of dynamite and handed them to Bo. "You still got your lighter on you?" he asked Bo. Bo searched his pockets. "Yep." "I need you to climb that ladder over there and get onto the catwalk. Make your way above that contraption and light a bundle and throw it into that green glow. Will and I will set up the rest of the dynamite around the arena, and then when the first bang goes off, we'll start hollowing tubes out the door." Bo raised his right thumb and walked to the ladder. Jeff and Will began placing the explosives on the weight-bearing columns around the outside of the rink. Bo thought about the old days when Jeff, Will, and him would pull some of the craziest stunts when they were young, blowing up toilets with cherry bombs, mailboxes with M80s, having Roman candle fights, and that time they lit the maintenance shed at school on fire when Will made Molotov cocktails. He was in position when he started hearing gunfire. Jeff had been spotted, and with 4 shots, there were 5 reptoids lying bleeding on the ice. Will carried a revolver, and he took out 2 that were coming towards Jeff. Bo lit the wick on the dynamite and dropped it. The crowd of reptoids were hissing and shouting. They spotted the 3 of them in their various positions about the arena. Some ran as they saw the bundle of dynamite drop from the ceiling. The explosion ripped apart the ice, the reptoids, and the contraption. The fog cleared in a perfect 150-foot circle and was replaced by a flash of burning light. It shook the catwalk and knocked Bo off his footing. He grabbed a hold of the railing and tried pulling himself up again. Another explosion went off, and debris from the column hit Bo and knocked him loose from the railing. He was able to grab hold of a support beam that was being held aloft by a thin stretch of cable. His hands were sweaty, and they slipped down the beam, and then he stopped mercifully. "Son of a bitch!" Jeff hollered. "Bo!" "I'm not sure I'm going to be able to hang on to this thing for very long," Bo said. Will ran out and tried to maneuver himself under Bo. "Come on, bro," Will shouted up to him. "Just drop, I gotcha." Will didn't see the reptoid coming from the side. It tackled into him and knocked him to the ground. Before he could cry out, it bit into him, injecting its paralyzing venom into his rib cage. "Mother... fucker," Will tried to say by raising his pistol. He squeezed the trigger of his Smith & Wesson, and the reptoid's head exploded. Skull fragments and brain matter were all over the ice and Will's face. With that, Will Stevenston lowered his head back down. He was breathing rapidly, as he stared up at Bo, his eyes beginning to go blank as the venom made its way through his nervous system. "Fuck!" Bo shouted. "Jeff, I need you to do something for me." "What do you need?" Jeff shouted back, his voice a bit choked up. "You still a crack shot with that AR?" "Yeah." I'm falling, brother. I can't hold on to this thing much longer. So when I do, I'm gonna hold out this last bundle of dynamite. I want you to hit it as soon as I am in front of that gadget down there." "I can't fucking do that, Bo." "The fuck you can't. Come on, man. I'm not gonna make it anyways. Make this mean something. God damn it." Bo plummeted towards the fire and smoke that hovered in the crater he created. The green glow was flickering. He held out the bundle of TNT as he dropped. He heard a shot ring out, and in an instant, he felt the wave of heat from the explosion. He knew there were pieces of him leaving his body. It felt like he was falling for hours, green fog swirling around him as his body began a violent spin. "I'm going through the thin place. I'm going to end up in their world. Oh my God, I'm going to end up in their world." And that, my friends, is the end of The Nest. So there you go. Whew. That one was a doozy, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's story. What do we got here, Kevin? Get it out of its system so it's done by the 20th. Yeah. Is that when you're coming up? Is it on the 20th? Because I don't think I'm leaving I'm not leaving until the 23rd for Florida. Yeah, I'm not leaving till the 23rd, I think. So I may be still able to catch up with you, buddy, depending on what you got going on. So, holy shit. Yeah, Kev. So, I don't know. I don't know if I've built up the tension on that one enough. That's me. Well, good. I like the reactions. Thank you guys. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, this has been kind of a fun one to write. If you guys don't know too much on the backstory of this one, I actually did fall asleep in my deer stand. That story was great. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you liked it, Chuck. The 20th through the 29th. So is it possible maybe 21st or 22nd you and I could meet up somewhere? Kev, let me know. Great chapter. Can't wait for the next. Good, 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 good. Good. I'm glad you liked it, Jessica. Thank you. And thank you, Chuck. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I did fall asleep in my deer stand, and I did have dream after dream after dream, and I kept waking up in my dreams, and I kept going, when am I going to wake up in my own reality? And that's kind of where the idea for this book came from. I did actually blow the helicoil in my truck, and I had a friend here fix it for me. He kind of jimmy ringed it. And he said, well, that should at least get you up there. And it did get my truck to the cabin, and then the coil broke. And then, yeah, let's see. And then what else happened? Oh, and then so Jim fixed it, or Jeff. He fixed the helicoil in my truck. And he said, no, that should get you home. And I just pulled into my alley, and the damn thing popped on it. So yeah, so that part is true. That's where I got that from. So anyhow, 22nd is my birthday. Oh, Bobby turns 50 on the 22nd, I believe. 50, yeah, yeah. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed the story. I actually looked up the conspiracy theory of the reptilians, and I thought I would read some of it to you guys here. I don't know if I follow the conspiracy theory, but yeah. So here we. It's also there's a Minnesota connection to this. So reptilians, also called reptoids, archons, reptiloids, saurons, draconians, or lizard people, are supposed reptilian humanoids, which play a prominent role in fantasy, science fiction, ufology, and conspiracy theories. The idea of reptilians was popularized by David Icke, a conspiracy theorist who claims shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate human societies. Icke has stated on multiple occasions that many world leaders are or are possessed by so-called reptilians. Some conspiracy theorists espousing the extraterrestrial hypothesis claim they either come from the Draco constellation or the Orion constellation, or are allies with nefarious extraterrestrials from the Orion constellation. Others claim they are interdimensional, coming from another universe or dimension. The origins. Michael Barkin, professor of political science at Syracuse University, posits that the idea of a reptilian conspiracy originated in the fiction of Conan the Barbarian creator Robert E. Howard. In his story, The Shadow Kingdom, published in Weird Tales in August of 1929, the story drew on the theosophical ideas of the lost worlds of Atlantis and Lemuria. So that's where that is from. Howard's serpent men were Conan had to deal with them quite a bit. Alien abduction. Alien abduction narratives sometimes allege contact with reptilian creatures. One of the earliest reports was that of Ashland, Nebraska police officer Herbert Schirmer, who under hypnosis recalled being taken aboard a UFO in 1967 by humanoid beings with a slightly reptilian appearance, who wore a winged serpent emblem on the left side of their chests. Skeptics consider his claims to be a hoax. So, David Icke, according to British conspiracy theorist David Icke, who first published on this theme in his 1999 work, The Biggest Secret, tall, blood-drinking, shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from the Alpha Draconis star system are now hiding in underground bases, are the force behind the worldwide conspiracy against humanity. He contends that most of the world's ancient and modern leaders are related to these reptilians, including the Merovingian dynasty, the Rothschilds, the Bush family, and the British royal family. Icke's conspiracy theories now have supporters in up to 47 countries. In politics, and this is kind of where the Minnesota connection is, on September 12th of 2003, during the provincial election campaign in Ontario, Canada, the Ernie Eves campaign issued a news release that called opponent Dalton McGuinty an evil reptilian kitten eater from another planet. The words appeared at the end of the news release. Eves said the epithet was meant as a joke and acknowledged the words were over the top, but refused to apologize. In the U.S., in the closely fought 2008 U.S. Senate election in Minnesota between comedian and commentator Al Franken and incumbent Senator Norm Coleman, one of the ballots challenged by Coleman included a vote for Franken with lizard people written in the space provided for write-in candidates. Lucas Davenport, who later claimed to have written the gag ballot, said, "I don't know if you've heard the conspiracy theory about the lizard men. A friend of mine, we didn't like the candidates, so we So we were at first going to write in revolution because we thought that was good and to the point, and then we thought the lizard people would be even funnier. Franken won the election after the recount. So anyhow, the funniest part about that is that Lucas Davenport is the main character in the Prey series, written by John Sanford. So yeah, so I don't know. Who knows what to believe and all that stuff, but I did think it was kind of a cool theory. In anyway, so you make fantasy seem possible, and that scares me. Thanks, Bobby. That actually that's I find that very what's the word for it? I find I'm better at writing stuff than I am saying stuff, as you guys can tell. But yeah, thank you. I'm very honored. I'm very honored that you say that. So thank you very much for that. Thank you guys very much for coming out and watching me tonight. I pretty much have the schedule set up for all the podcasts for this month. If you have not been keeping close tabs on posts that I've put up on this website, I am going to be in Florida for the week of Christmas, and I thought about doing a Tunes for Tuesday, and thought about doing a horror hump day, live podcasts from my dad's patio. But the last time I did that, which I think was last year, I didn't like the way that it sounded. It sounded very whispery, and it was kind of hard to hear me. And I don't want to bring all my equipment to Florida. I don't want to bring my guitar to Florida. So, so I'm taking the week off. But we are still having a holiday special for Horror Hump Day. And I'm going to pre-record the story Midnight Dreary from my new book, Thin Spots. It'll be a pre-recorded reading, and it'll appear on here on Christmas Day, so you guys will be able to see it on Christmas Day. So so Kevin, I've made sure that you won't sleep on Christmas. You're welcome for that. But Midnight Dreary is it is the origin story of the Anti-Claus. If you remember that story from a few weeks back, that I read to you guys, that story was read on Christmas of last year. So I thought, I'm going to do an origin story about the Anti-Claus, and that is going to be read on Christmas Day. Anyhow, Tunes for Tuesday next week. I am just going to play you guys some songs that I've been kind of learning on the side. I'm not sure if Wild Hair is going to be here with me. And then in 2 weeks on Tuesday, I will be doing some Christmas music. I can't believe I'm doing Christmas music. I'm doing Christmas music in 2 weeks. So I was going to have Sandy Anderson had voiced an interest in singing some Christmas music with me. Just a wonderful lady, and she sent me some snippets of her voice that her son had recorded. She's got a beautiful voice, and she loves singing Christmas songs. She may like Christmas maybe more than Bobby does. Who knows? But she is unable to make it. She's got a lot of stuff going on this month, of course, because it is the holidays. But yes, so we're going to be doing that in a couple weeks. Next week on Horror Hump Day, we'll be doing the story Homecoming, which is also a story that I have read to you guys before. Bo will be waking up on the world's first faster-than-light starship, and they're on their way back to Earth, and oddly, there's no answer on the radio, nor is there any answer from the International Space Station Mark IV. So stay tuned for that next week on Wednesday. Rocking around the Christmas tree. Yeah, Bobby. You've poisoned me. Kevin's happy. Yes. Hey, Chuck, have a great night. Lemmy does Christmas. Yeah, I imagine he probably does have some Christmas songs out there. So, anyhow, yeah, so that's what we're doing here coming up here. And so sometime well when we finish the Sleepwalker book, um which will be next year, um I'm going to read my new book Thin Spots on here. I have to yeah, it's a pretty thick book, so I don't know how I'm going to divide up. There's 12 stories in it. So I'm going to have to see how I'm going to well, I guess we'll just do it in 12 days, you know. So, I don't know. I'll figure all that out later. But anyhow, thank you guys very much for coming here. Kevin, text me and let me know what you got planned for like the 21st or whatever. Maybe we can hang out with Bobby on his birthday or something. I don't know. But yeah, just let me know when you're going to be here and maybe if it's possible that we can meet up before I head to Florida. So, anywho, see you guys later. Have a great night. Thank you guys, all of you, for coming out. Those of you that are in the background just watching and not commenting, thank you very much for coming and welcome to the Beehive. You guys are always welcome here. Listen to scary music or to listen to scary stories, and listen to good music played badly. I think that's going to be my motto now for Tunes for Tuesday. So, absolutely, Shannon. Thank you very much for always coming out, and I always appreciate you regular drones out there, and I appreciate scary music, right? And you regulars out there, and you new people that have come out here to visit the Hive. I very much appreciate that too, and I hope you've enjoyed your stay. I hope you guys feel welcome out here. You should always feel welcome here, because I like people. All right, you guys. Have a great night. Talk to y'all next week. Peace. And a bottle of hair grease. Mwah. Love ya. And stuff. And stuff. Yeah.